welcome to Teaching Tip Tuesday. My name is Michelle Williams, aka the Ignited Teacher. And what I do here on Teaching Tip Tuesday is I help math teachers to effectively manage their classrooms and to increase student achievement. That is, I do that with just good old math strategies that support diverse learners, as well as response to intervention, technology integration, classroom management, and project-based learning. So I take that and wrap it all into one to support learners who need more support. And that's my inclusive framework. So if you're new here, thank you for being a part of my community. If you are returning and you're watching this on the replay, thank you for showing up every week. What I want to do is, before I get started into my Teaching Tip Tuesday, is I want to tell teachers to, stand strong. We're going through a tough time. The perception of teachers has never been great. And what we're seeing is a um, really disdain for what teachers do and a lack of respect for what we do every day with other people's children. I would like to believe that America really supported and valued their teachers, but for some reason, I don't know why, we have been reduced to glorified babysitters, because that's not what we do every day. And I want to tell you, from a veteran teacher, I'm going into my 21st year in education, and I'm still in the classroom, that this is not what education has always been. And I think we're at a turning point in education where we are going to make some decisions about what education is supposed to look like in America. We need the support of our communities. We are not getting the support that we need. People don't know what we do in the classroom because parents have never had to really roll up their sleeves and actually be a real stakeholder in education, meaning working side by side with educators. We need all our stakeholders, and that's my message, is that when teachers are not able to do what we do on a daily basis, we need those other stakeholders to step in, which is parents and the community. And I think everything has been placed on teachers' backs, and our back is not big enough for this. We are not the pandemic saviors. We're not. We're educators. We did not put go into education to put our lives on the line. I mean, my God, we had teachers dying in school shootings. So now you want us to actually give our lives for unnecessarily. It really is, because we're supposed to save the economy. That's not who we are as educators. HEB and Kroger do more for their teachers than the states do, for their employees than the states do actually for teachers to protect them. We can't, at least the stores are requiring masks, and they're putting plexiglass up for teachers, and we can't even get masks without pushback. So you're asking us for to do some things that it's just not right, and it's not fair to teachers. It's not fair for the public to ask us to do something that you wouldn't do yourself. They did it to nurses. There's not enough personal protective equipment, and they're now doing it to teachers, and it's sad. It's a sad day in history. But what I do know, out of controversial things, I can't get that out, I know that some great things will come out of this, and we're going to turn the corner. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better, but I know that we will push through and make some changes in education, because we're going to have to make some hard decisions about who we are and the respect that we deserve from America, because we've never gotten it. And I don't know why people say that we're essential workers. We're not essential workers. We are educators. We went to school. I have 2 degrees. I am not an essential worker. Now, we educate, but we need a safe environment. We need the things that we need to protect us from infecting our families and this community spread. But America wants what it wants, and this is something bigger than just the disrespect that we get as educators. But with that said, we still have to plan for the upcoming school year, and that's what Teaching Tip Tuesday is about, is to help you plan for your school year. Now, I'm going to tell you that it has been difficult. I've been teaching for 21 years, and transitioning into distance learning is a horse of another color. It really is. It's just something totally different. I was telling my colleagues that shutting down in distance learning is something totally different than actually starting up. Because when we shut down in distance learning, we already knew our students. I had been in school 3/4 of the school year. We were in the last 6 weeks. And any educator can tell you, we got standardized testing. And the last 6 weeks, really, you already know, it's test prep. So that's all we do in the last 6 weeks, trying to get the kids ready. Because to be honest with you, most of the school year, depending on when you test, your curriculum is already taught. So that's really how it goes. So, but starting up is totally different. And what I've noticed for me is that I've had to shift my thinking, even as a veteran teacher. And I put a link to my YouTube video in the description to and sharing that video about my thinking and process about, planning. And it has not come easy. And that's one of the misconceptions, that people say we want to work from home. Nobody wants to work from home. I don't want to work from home. But if it's the safest place for us as educators, that's what it is. It's safe. We don't have parents with un unrealistic expectations, because if you really think that it's going to, your children are going to go to school and they're going to socialize, no, they're going to sit in their desks like little zombies for most of the day. And I guess it's going to take students coming home saying that they hate school and don't want to go for parents to really understand. No, you're putting your kids in an unsafe situation, as well as you're putting your children into a situation, there's no recess, there's no lunch, and they will not be socializing. That is the last thing that they will be doing. So teachers have to plan for that. We're in education, we are collaborative. And it takes a lot of collaboration to get concepts. That is not going to be the case. There will not be any guided practice. I've seen teachers with these plexiglass. The virus is airborne. That point blank period. It is airborne. And it's not, plexiglass is not going to stop it. It really is not. I have a teacher friend of mine who had the coronavirus. She was down for a month. She really was. So there are things that you're going to have to keep yourself safe. You're not going to have contact with students. So you have to plan for that. Even if you're in person, those are things that you have to plan for. Our district is not going back we're not rolling out a face-to-face plan until after the first six weeks. That's in October. It really is. And that's a long time. It really is. And my focus is really thinking about, because I've been teaching so long, I really don't have to think about the startup of the school year any longer, especially when we're face to face, because I already knew what I was going to do. But the difficult part about distance learning is thinking about all the things that you do, like those little things that you do to make connections with students. You have to transition that to distance learning. And it's not that easy. Not that easy. I'm going to tell you right now. So, what I'm going to do is show you how I'm using the Happy Planner. And to be honest with you, I'm not a planner person. I never have been. I wasn't a note taker in college. I wasn't a note taker in high school. So it's not first nature. Some people write down, like my coworker, she writes down everything. She writes to-do lists. Well, that's not what I do. And I've never had to do that. But now, since I have to think about every little thing that I do and recreate it for distance learning, I have to think about that and create a list. So this is the first page, and let me scoot over. Now I'm using this Happy Planner, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never been so happy to put little stickers on a planner, because it kind of gives me an outlet when it comes to, you know, planning and thinking. Kind of gives my brain a break from thinking about the school year. So on this page, I have notes, and Google Classroom is my platform of choice because I teach students that struggle. And even if we were in person, I still would use this. Last year, I've been using Google Classroom for, this is my 5th year, I think. So I don't I use that anyway within my class, because my goal is to have a more independent group of students. So Google Classroom provides a space. It's very linear, so it's easy for me to set it up. And if you want to learn more about how I set Google Classroom up, you can check my YouTube channel and find some videos on there on how to set your classroom up for math intervention. Now, with here, as you can see, it said creativity is messy, and I'm very creative. So, yes, I'm creative on the front where I can get really innovative with ideas for teaching. I like this planner. This is called Your Year to Shine Planner. That's what it is. So, I like the layout. So, it has a checklist. So, it keeps me on task. So did I do this? Did I do that? Because these little intricacies, like for example, I forgot that there has to be a meet the teacher. It really does, because I don't know these children, but it's no longer face to face, it's virtual. Then, I have to do something for the parents. So, like, there's an expectation for the kids and an expectation for the parents. So, it's just different things. Then, this year, what I am going to have to implement is I'm going to have to do a morning session and evening session. So, that's based on the kids' schedule and how they're meeting with the other teachers. So, when you have people in the community saying, y'all just don't want to work, it takes more of our time to do distance learning and set up a virtual classroom than it would ever take for me to do in person. Because all I have to do is put my little clothes on in the morning, get dressed, and go to work. My stuff is already there. But I'm recreating a classroom. That's not what a teacher wants to do. So when I hear parents saying, well, what entitles teachers? Well, we're not trying to be entitled. What we're doing is trying to be safe, just like you would want your children to be safe. But nobody seems to think about that because we're entitled. We've never been entitled. Like I told a man, we're not entitled because you all have treated us like crap for years. Y'all do that because teachers, we get off in the summer. We don't get off in the summer. The summer is for us to plan. Do you know how much it takes for us to plan? Yes, for those who are not teachers that are watching this live stream. So this is part of what we do. We plan this right here. Yeah, that's what we do. So it takes a lot of brain power for teachers to start up a school year virtually. The next one is this is the next page. So I like because I had some little stickers. I've become a sticker fanatic, so this is my happy place. So I just wrote some things down. I was nervous sighted about the school year because I'm dealing with tier 2, tier 3 students, and I want my kids to be engaged, and I want them to have an easy transition back to face to face. So I have to, when I did checks for understanding, when I did all these other things, because I used to use plickers for check for understanding. I can't use that anymore. So what am I going to put in place of plickers? Because that's an in um, face-to-face app, unless they've done something else where we can do it virtually. So I'm going to have to use like quizzes or something like that to do like some formative assessment for the kids. Um, then, as you can see, it says distance learning, and it says important. I have to schedule my survey. Then I have agenda. What ed tech platforms am I going to use? Generally, I use maybe not even a handful of ed tech platforms. I maybe pick two, three, maybe four at the most, and I use those for the school year. And I highly recommend that you do that as well. Then there's the student check-in for social and emotional learning because the kids are under stress themselves, just like teachers are. I think that we're going to find a lot of children who have gone through some things like when my friend had the coronavirus, like I really thought that she wasn't going to make it. It really was. And it really weighed on me. And it made me think about like, is America ready for teachers and students to die? Because that's exactly what's going to happen. Like I said, it's not if teachers get the virus, is when they get it. And it's not if students get the virus, it's when they get it. I've been, like I said before, I've been to students' funerals. There are people who have died in hospitals. I'm sure our children have died in hospitals where they could not say goodbye, because I've had it happen with friends who didn't go to the funerals for whatever reason. So it's just a lot going on. Even my colleague, her family, if I'm not mistaken, the coronavirus has taken 3 people from her family already. So we have teachers who are losing family members to this virus, and it's going to weigh on us. It really is. The effects are not here, but mental health is really an issue for teachers. People don't realize that, and we have people that are dying. Like, it is not good at all. I had my colleague tell me after, she had been battling the coronavirus for really a month, 4 weeks. And when she finally, got better, she started checking in on Facebook, and she said 15 people that she knew had the coronavirus and 8 of them died. So, like, once this is over, we're going to have to reckon with a lot of things that are going on with people. And that's the problem I have with, you know, my students and my colleagues, because we have to support them. Thankfully, I have not had any of my family members contract the coronavirus, but that's not to say it won't happen. So it's very difficult. It really is. And that's why I put the student check-in, the social emotional learning, because I really need to know how they are doing. How that check-in is going to look like, I'm not even sure. Then there's the digital anchor charts. We're normally using chart paper, but there is no chart paper. There's digital stuff unless I'm gonna take a picture of it, but it makes no sense. So that's another thing I'm going to have to figure out as far as what I'm going to do. And then there's manipulatives. We use Desmos, but since mine is a math intervention algebra 1 class, I'm going to have to use, I teach through the vertical alignment. So I'm going to have to use manipulatives from fourth and fifth grade all the way up to ninth grade. And then there's building my virtual community. Like, I need to make sure that my students feel connected because that's what I do in person. My students know that I'm there for them when they need me. I've had last semester I had kids calling me. One little girl texted me. She was like, "Miss Williams, I know it's late, but I need this." So, and I was like, "Yes, it is late, but what do you need?" So, things like that. That community and being able to connect was created face to face, and I need to start out the same way. And then there's the expectations for Google Classroom and virtual schools. So there are expectations, especially for elementary. You have to lay out what you're doing for those parents and what the parent can expect. I was talking about that today. Like, you might want to have an overview of the week. We wouldn't normally do that face to face, but that's something that you may have to do. And then we have teachers that are teaching in person as well online. You may want to have a Google form for parents to fill out when they don't understand something, so you can contact them because you can't be in two places at one time. So that's something that you may have to put in place. So just thinking about things that we didn't have to do for face-to-face learning, we now have to do that in the virtual world. So let me see. I think that's it. Yeah. So, pretty much getting our stuff together for this virtual distance learning thing, it is not an easy task. It's not, because I'm like, all of my resources, I'm having to recreate them and make them into digital products. And people are saying that teachers are not working. Yes, we are working. As a matter of fact, I'm working more now than I did face to face, because this stuff, I would not be changing um, virtual, I wouldn't be changing my activities to virtual activities. It wouldn't be necessary. So, we're dealing with some crazy times, but, like I said before, I'm just tell the teachers, hang in there and focus on what you can focus on. We can't change people's opinions about us. And I'm not going to argue online with people who really don't know what teachers do. They don't know what we do. A lot of them, like I was talking to a parent in my business group today. She was saying a lot of parents feel like the school has them from 8 hours a day and then they don't have to deal with them. And they think of us as a glorified babysitter. That's really what it is. And that's not who we are. And I think this time is going to change the perception of teachers, because we're not your babysitters. And I want to say that loud and clear. We're not. We're your child's teachers. You're a partner in education. And, I told the lady, I said, it's kind of like some of these parents think we co-parent. We don't co-parent. We love your children, but our main focus is to educate. We don't socialize children. You socialize dogs. Socialization is taught at kindergarten. We don't have any socialization teaks. And yeah, that is a whole fact. She said, I'm concerned about grades. I feel as though there will be more anxiety because the virtual learning grades will carry the full weight in districts that are going virtual full time. And yeah, and she said parents can't deal with them. Yeah. And that's that, like she said, that's the whole fact. That's the whole truth. You know, about the grades, yeah, that's going to be a real issue. It really is. And I know in the state of Texas, They are they're holding funding, tied to kids that fail the class. So like if you have a student that fails, you don't get the child don't get funding for that. Like it's some crazy stuff that is going on. And, to say that these agencies represent teachers is just ridiculous. And not only that, the workman's comp. There's an article out from I forgot the name of the company, the news outlet that put it out, saying that teachers won't get workman's comp. And these workman comp companies who insure these districts, they're going to deny a lot of claims. They're going to, and that's not fair to teachers. It's really not. It's just like firefighters and police officers. They get infected on the job. What makes us any different? So there was like, it's a matter of proof to where we have to show that we were infected at work. Well, I don't have a positive COVID test. So if I go back to work and become positive, that means that I didn't get it from my day. If I stayed negative all year long, what makes you think that I didn't catch it from work? So those are the things that we're dealing with. On top of parents bashing us in the press, on top of the government trying to appease these politics that are going up. And this is the main reason why politics does not belong in education. It does not, because you cannot educate children when people are pushing politics. It does not make any sense. Politicians lie all the time. We've seen it. Propaganda. If you're looking for a good lesson on propaganda, I have one for you. Because that ban on those countries when this president became president, I have my kids research that. So she said, and it's crazy because teachers in Texas are high need and can't be covered. Equal teaching it exactly, and that's the truth. The teachers in Texas are high need, and it's no there's no easy solution. And like I told them, it's all hands on deck. Teachers have to support our students, the parents have to support their children until this is a difficult time. And then you got people trying to twist our arms and just throw us back in the classroom when teachers know on average. Now, this is a fact, especially in elementary, we have kids that run fevers and they are not supposed to be at school with a fever. And also, they come and we can't even get the parent to come and get them. So when this coronavirus outbreak happens and a child is positive and sick, do you think anything is going to change? Absolutely not, because there was a lady that was on Facebook that said she was at a daycare and a parent knew the child had a positive test and dropped the child off at daycare anyway. So you know what had to happen to the daycare? It shut down because everybody now has been exposed to the positive child. These are real things. And then we have districts that are not making children have a doctor's note. Let me tell you this. For those of you all who are not teachers, you can't even come to school without a doctor's note saying that you were treated with contagious conjunctivitis. For those of you all who don't know what that is? That's pink eye. So you can't even come back to school without saying that you were treated for pink eye. But you want to send kids back to our classroom with no doctor's note and the parent telling us that the child is no longer positive and not having symptoms. Really? Because last time I looked, the coronavirus, it's an infectious disease, no different than the pink eye. But you want us to let kids back in school. So, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Nothing that we do has ever been appreciated for the most part by Americans. We have other countries that treat their teachers a lot better, but This is the hand that we're dealt. And like I said at the beginning of this live stream, I think some great things are going to come out of this, because we know when people's backs are up against the wall, things happen. So you're pushing teachers. Our backs are up against the wall. So you're pushing us. And you're saying that you don't matter, but we know we matter. And at the end of the day, we're going to show you, whether you believe it or not, that we matter. So that's all I have for Teaching Tip Tuesday. And you all have an excellent Tuesday evening. And I'll see you all in my next live stream.